Now, I remember back in the day when selling your soul was considered to be a bad thing in the hip-hop scene, as in selling your soul to the devil. And the concept's been used by commentary channels against the multiple victims and workers of P. Diddy in his current federal trial. But in this video, we're going to look at Holly Baird, P. Diddy's publicist, although she actually works for Garagos and Garagos. That's one of P. Diddy's lawyers' law firms since 2020 as a crisis PR. She's been showing up regularly as a supporter of P. Diddy at the court, along with this guy, his apparent only friend, who embarrassingly wears a free puff sweatshirt.
Have an amazing morning.
Yes, she is.
Good morning, how are you?
Absolutely amazing.
Oh no, that's gross.
Yeah,
Good morning. He's okay. He's okay. About to go inside and see him right now.
You gotta tell her name on your live.
Have a good one.
So we're going to take a look at her background, because when it comes to selling your soul, she has to be the definition of it. And as I showed in my last video about Mark Garagos, these people protect and promote domestic abusers whilst making a lot of money. A year ago, she posted on her LinkedIn, "It's crucial for journalists and editors alike to adhere to the principles of objectivity and impartiality, refraining from letting personal biases or emotions influence reporting." She said, "We need to hold media outlets accountable for delivering unbiased, factual reporting and root out the bad apples who compromise journalistic integrity for the benefit of all readers." I've added a few to my list this year. It's really funny that the judge in this trial, Judge Aberranium, called out her boss for going on a media platform, which he co-hosts, and delivering biased messages, like calling the prosecution a six-pack of white women. Mark Garagos has gone on TV regularly to lie on behalf of his clients, to make excuses for their crimes and blame victims, while the victims, who are often members of the public and don't have representation, are rarely given their opportunity to give their side of the story, or if they do, they're victim shamed. Meanwhile, Garagos, who's written the actual book on mistrial, called a mistrial, while Diddy's lawyers have called for a mistrial, 3 times in their trial. That's just the beginning of her hypocrisy and lack of self-awareness. As before working for Mark Garagos, she worked for Citric and Company, and one of her clients was Harvey Weinstein, who's currently still serving jail time for his own sexual assault and sexual offences against women. She said about that job, "Never in a million years could I have imagined being in the field I'm in, representing the clients that I have. I love what I do." Harvey Weinstein was actually dropped as a client by them, but not because of ethical reasons. Although Michael Citric didn't want to comment on the situation, they did have to sue him to get paid because he stopped paying his bills. I've also been looking at a lot of the contradictions that Holly makes in her interviews. She promotes herself as a successful woman in the PR world. Like in this piece she did for Zurban Girls in celebration of Women's History Month. I don't know why you would want to focus on a woman whose job is to make men who abuse women look good in the public eye as part of International Women's Month. But here we are. She does quite a lot of quotes in other pieces as well. But in this piece, she said, "Social media is where many companies and high-profile individuals break news and see news being released about them. Black Twitter, for example, can drive and dominate a narrative for days, and social media logistics are vital to any media plan. Different platforms are used to deploy various messaging and reach a range of demographics. Know your platforms and familiarize yourself with how they operate in order to best serve your clientele." Does anyone know where free puff came from? She goes on, "It's always best to be on offensive when dealing with crisis communication issues. Being in control of the narrative is always the best position to be in. However, having solid messaging and receipts to support your claims assist when having discussions with members of the media. In another article in Vulture magazine, check the name out, she exposed herself even more by saying she was Team Blake in regard to the Blake Lively situation. In case you don't know, Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni and his producer of sexual harassment on the set of the It Ends With Us movie, and a judge has just dismissed his lawsuit of defamation against her. She said, "Honesty is key. Address the issue, take the necessary steps to correct the behaviour, and present your best self moving forward. Everyone has a bad day, but how you respond afterwards shows your true character and is what people will remember." I still remember P. Diddy apologising after the footage was shown of him beating Cassie at the International Continental Hotel on CNN. The same footage that in the trial they tried to say had been edited. Another one of their failed tactics. But yeah, I remember he made that sort of apology and then the video was deleted.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Wasn't disgusted enough to spare his teenage daughters and mum from hearing all the graphic details of what he's been getting up to for the last couple of decades. Funny that, but he never did win that Oscar he said he wanted once. Another shocking revelation that Holly made in the Vulture article was that she'd represented a leading domestic violence organisation for about a decade. And sure enough, it's on her LinkedIn that she's been a public relations specialist and Junior Achievement Circle board member for the Jeunesse Centre for 13 years and 6 months. How does this align? She literally says, it starts at home, and at home would be the production set. This is talking about Blake Lively, who made a complaint about sexual harassment. I am in no way diminishing sexual harassment, but the level of violence that we've seen come out in this P. Diddy trial has been staggering, that he inflicted on victims that came to work for him. It shows how important it is that women have rights and boundaries in the workplace more than ever, but she's showing up there every day in support of him, and she's got the cheek to say, if there are some allegations of inappropriate behaviour, it needs to be addressed right away, because it never really is just one person. It starts with one person, and then one person doesn't say anything, and it snowballs. And then one day you're in federal court with a 5-charge indictment. Is she for real? There was another article she was quoted in. I don't think it was about her client, but she put her 2 pence worth in, and it stated how in some cases an actual social media influencer could be paid to help rehabilitate an abusive client. Someone who's been in jail for their offences, with payments from $5,000 to $100,000. These are the same people that will accuse a victim of going after money. Another tactic they said they used was to get another celebrity to speak up about how great they were. Quote, once one person has the audacity to support someone in Hollywood, it seems a lot of people step forward. Another absolute clanger she dropped was that red carpets could be very cruel. Not the red carpets being cruel, not the man that's put their hands on someone, not him, it's the red carpets. There are other people featured in this article and they are really proud of the work they do. They think they're so clever. I just want to know, is it that hard to find an actor to be a star that hasn't been an abuser? Are the pickings that slim? Another guy was quoted as saying, the world of social media has opened up exciting new avenues for crisis communications. Every journalist in the world can hate you, but if you have 3 million fans who consistently love you, then they're the ones you want to rely on. Holly said, the black community tends to forgive and forget a lot easier. You have got to go to the smaller blogs because that is where a lot of the black community are watching. She noted that the person they're talking about appeared on women-friendly platforms. They're re-immersing him back into the black community. They've brought him home in a sense. Remember when she was talking about factual integrity and journalism? Well, this is not it. And it confirms that content creators are being paid for us to accept abusers and misogynists. No wonder there's so many out there. And Holly is part of the problem. She said her ultimate goal is to help those in need that truly deserve it. I think you'd be hard-pushed to find anyone with a soul who thinks P. Diddy deserves your help right now. And these crisis PRs can try and use social media engineering to make it look like P. Diddy has a defense. From what I'm seeing, the judge actually has integrity. And he's not falling for the BS. He has not got time for their ish. He said they were having a Perry Mason moment. He's literally not impressed. And as someone that works with domestic violence victims, I don't know how you justify this job. Or maybe Holly does not have a soul. It's just letting the side down.